2:18 hours, Eastern Europe location, U.S. Forward Operating Base. Classified. The base was quiet in the way only a war zone can be. Generators hummed. Perimeter lights cut thin lines through the fog. Operators watched screens that showed nothing unusual. Routine. Until the ground-based radar twitched. 2:20 hours. The first warning. A junior analyst leaned closer to his console. "Sir, I'm seeing multiple fast tracks." The watch officer frowned. "Exercise traffic?" The analyst shook his head. "No, IFF. Low altitude. Very fast." Another console lit up, then another. 2:22 hours. Pattern recognition. The tactical display filled with red vectors. Not one, not five, dozens. The air defense officer's voice tightened. "These aren't aircraft. Profiles match cruise missiles." The room went silent. Someone whispered, "From where?" Satellite data updated. The answer appeared in cold white text. Origin: Russian strike assets. 2:24 hours, no time left. There was no warning shot, no diplomatic call, no chance to reposition, just math. "Time to impact," the base commander demanded. The analyst swallowed. "Under 6 minutes. 2:25 hours. Sirens. The alarm ripped through the base. Incoming. Incoming. This is not a drill. Soldiers ran. Vehicles screeched to a halt. Pilots abandoned aircraft mid-check. Missile defense crews sprinted for launch controls. 2:27 hours. Defensive fire interceptor systems came alive. Radars locked. Launchers elevated. Missiles screamed skyward. "Engage! Engage all tracks!" the air defense officer shouted. The night sky flashed with violent light as interceptors met incoming weapons. For a moment, hope surged. 2:29 hours. The saturation reality. Then the truth hit. Too many targets, too many angles, too little time. Missiles split into clusters. Some dove low, others popped decoys. The commander felt his chest tighten. This is a saturation strike. They weren't trying to break the shield. They were trying to bury it. 02:31 hours. First impact. A cruise missile slipped through. It struck the outer motor pool. The explosion tore the night open. Flames surged skyward. Shrapnel rained down. Shockwaves slammed into hardened shelters. Impact on the west side. Fire spreading. Communications flickering. 02:33 hours. Then the wave. Hit the second wave arrived before the first fires were contained. Multiple impacts across the base. Runways cratered. Fuel tanks ignited. Command trailers vanished in fireballs. The operations center shook violently. Screens went dark one by one. 2:35 hours. Command goes blind. A direct hit severed the main comms hub. Radios crackled, then died. Satellite uplink dropped. The base commander slammed his fist on the console. "Backup channels, now!" A technician yelled back. "They're gone." The base was still standing, but it was isolated. 2:37 hours. The kill strike. The final missiles arrived precisely where they were meant to. Hardened structures, power nodes, medical facilities, not random, deliberate, calculated. One officer whispered, "They mapped everything." 2:39 hours, silence. Then, nothing. No new tracks, no new launches, just smoke, fire, and alarms echoing through broken concrete. The base had been hit hard, very hard. 2:42 hours. Damage report survivors. Regrouped amid wreckage. Runways unusable. Aircraft destroyed on the ground. Command infrastructure shattered. Casualties still being counted. The base commander looked at the burning horizon. "This base is combat ineffective," he said quietly. No one argued. 2:46 hours. The message lands hours or seconds later, depending on perspective. U.S. command centers received confirmation. A U.S. base had been wiped out by a Russian strike wave. No ambiguity, no deniability. This wasn't an accident, this was a decision. 2:50 hours. The question that changes everything. In secure rooms, thousands of miles away, senior leaders stared at the same phrase. Direct attack on U.S. forces. One voice finally broke the silence. "If we don't respond, what happens next?" Another answered coldly. "They'll do it again." 2:54 hours. The order begins to form. Targeting data was pulled. Strike packages assembled. Assets repositioned quietly across the globe. The response wouldn't be rushed. It would be total. 2:59 hours. Back at the shattered base, dawn began to rise through smoke and fire. The commander stood among the ruins, listening to distant explosions as secondary fires burned. "They wiped us out," someone said behind him. The commander didn't turn. "No," he replied. "They woke us up." And far beyond the horizon, America was already preparing to answer, with force no one could ignore. 03:06 hours, U.S. Strategic Command. The room was silent except for the hum of servers. No shouting, no arguments, no disbelief. Everyone in the room had already accepted the truth. A U.S. base had been erased. 03:08 hours, confirmation locks. In satellite imagery updated in real time. Before, hardened shelters, aircraft, command nodes. After, smoking craters, collapsed structures, burning fuel. The intelligence director spoke calmly. This was not harassment. This was not signaling. He pointed at the screen. This was an annihilation strike. 03:11 hours, escalation threshold. Crossed a red indicator, changed status. Deterrence, failure. Active response. Authorized that line had not been triggered in decades. When it did, everything else became automatic. 3:14 hours, America moves. Across 3 continents and 2 oceans, U.S. forces began shifting without public announcement. Stealth bombers left hangars under darkness. Submarines altered depth and heading. Carrier strike groups accelerated to flank speed. No press release, no warnings, only motion. 03:19 hours, Russia notices. Too late. Russian early warning systems began detecting anomalies, not launches, absences. American assets that had been tracked for weeks vanished. A Russian radar officer frowned. Where did they go? No one answered. 03:23 hours, the first American strike. The retaliation did not begin near the destroyed base. It began far away. Deep, critical, precision weapons struck Russian strike infrastructure, launch nodes, logistics hubs, and command relays tied directly to the attack. Explosions rippled through hardened sites. Systems went dark. The Russian strike wave had fired once. It would not fire again. 03:27 hours, air dominance established. U.S. aircraft entered contested airspace without announcement. Russian fighters scrambled. Most never found targets. Radar screens filled with static, ghosts, and false returns, then went blank. The sky belonged to one side now. 3:32 hours, naval pressure mounts. In multiple seas, Russian naval units reported sudden loss of situational awareness. Sonar flooded with noise, navigation corrupted, command links severed. Then came the impacts. Not everywhere, just enough to cripple. 03:37 hours, the second wave. America's response was not a single blow. It was layered, sequential, relentless. Precision strikes hit ammunition depots, airfields, and coordination hubs connected to Russian expeditionary forces. Every target chosen for one purpose: remove Russia's ability to repeat what it had done. 03:43 hours, Russian command. Fractures emergency meetings erupted. Conflicting reports poured in. Units asking for orders. Orders failing to transmit. Commanders losing visibility. One officer said the words no one wanted to hear: "We are losing control." 03:48 hours. The message arrives. A secure channel activated. The American message was short, measured, unmistakable. You initiated a direct strike on U.S. forces. This response will continue until that capability no longer exists. There was no insult, no threat, just fact. 03:54 hours. The world freezes allies, elevated readiness levels. Airspace closed across regions. Markets plunged. News outlets scrambled to keep up, but could not see the full picture. Much of what was happening wasn't meant to be seen. 03:59 hours. Final strike phase. The last American strikes focused on one thing only: command coherence. When they ended, Russian forces could still move, but they could not coordinate. They could still exist, but they could not fight as a system. 04:06 hours. Silence returns. Just as suddenly as it began, the strike stopped. Aircraft turned home. Submarines went quiet. Missile systems powered down. No victory announcement, no declaration, only silence. 04:12 hours. Aftermath at the ruined base. Back at the destroyed U.S. base, rescue teams worked through smoke and debris. Medics moved between casualties. Engineers assessed what remained. Flags were raised again, torn but standing. The base was gone, but the message had been sent. 0418 hours, strategic assessment, a classified summary circulated, U.S. base destroyed by hostile strike, retaliatory operations achieved overwhelming dominance, adversary offensive capability neutralized, escalation controlled. Cold language, but decisive. Russia believed it could erase a base and control the outcome. It miscalculated, because when American forces are wiped out, the response is not equal. It is ending. The base was destroyed, but the rules of the conflict were rewritten, and the world learned, quietly, painfully, that some lines, once crossed, do not lead back.